One evening, in a cramped and cluttered apartment, a mother frantically searched her daughter. Her daughter, Liz, cried and pleaded, "Mom, my sister and I haven't eaten all day." The children's cries did not soften the mother's heart. She managed to snatch some money from her daughter's pocket, then grabbed her husband's hand and rushed out the door. As the two sisters followed them to an alley, their parents used the money to buy drugs. The sisters seemed all too familiar with this sight, quietly turning towards a nearby dumpster. Ignoring the buzzing flies, they rummaged for leftover food in the bin, eagerly putting it into their mouths. This is a memorable scene from the autobiography Breaking Night by American author Liz Murray, and such scenes were commonplace in the author's childhood. In the slum where she lived, drug abuse, murder, and prostitution were rampant. Liz's life was like a tragedy, filled only with helplessness and despair. She once fought with rats for food by the dumpster, was harassed, beaten, and endured all kinds of humiliation. Carrying those bitter memories, Liz seemed to exist only in oblivion and pain, as if torn into pieces by a cruel world. She was weak and defenseless. Reading this memoir, I often shivered, not because of the captivating story, but because Liz's extreme misery and poverty made one feel as if the desire to live had been utterly drained. Many years later, the girl born into the worst possible script made a spectacular comeback. She not only passed the entrance exam to Harvard University, but also became a miraculous girl who moved the entire United States. Subsequently, the media flocked to her, trying to unravel the mystery of her turnaround. As countless people used magnifying glasses to examine Liz's journey, the truth gradually emerged. There are no sudden miracles in this world. The so-called secret to success is actually a fervent pursuit of self-change and development. When faced with life's difficulties, those with an intense drive for self-improvement will proactively break through their limitations and find opportunities to change their entire destiny. This is a true story by author Liz Murray, who used the details of her own life to write the autobiographical novel Breaking Night in 2003. Her story was adapted into a film that received 3 nominations at the 55th Emmy Awards. It is said that there are only 2 paths in life. One path leads to eternal life, a narrow road few travel. The other leads to destruction, a wide gate and broad road many take. The path of self-improvement is that narrow road. This book will bring you profound insights and a new source of inspiration for life as you realize the importance of continuous self-development, thereby guiding you to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. The fervent pursuit of self-development is a transformative power. Liz's initial tragic reality stemmed from her depraved parents. Her mother had a rebellious personality from childhood, hated reading, despised school, dropped out at a young age, smoked drugs, stole, and engaged in promiscuous relationships. Her father was even worse. Although he attended school for a few years, he made no effort, only knew how to cheat and cause trouble, and had been to prison for drug trafficking. Neither had any skills. After getting married, they could only live on welfare, wandering at the bottom of society, enduring contempt and ridicule. Her father, addicted to alcohol, often beat his wife and children. Her mother, addicted to drugs, was completely unable to care for the family. Their children constantly suffered from hunger and thirst, wore torn and dirty clothes, had lice-ridden hair, and could not hold their heads up in front of their peers. Seeing a hopeless life, Liz's father went insane and abandoned the family. Her mother feigned madness and entered an asylum. They both eventually contracted AIDS and died tragically. In fact, Liz's parents did not come from bad backgrounds. They started out like most people. The only difference was that during the years they should have been studying, they casually played around. When others worked hard, they indulged in fleeting pleasures, and after those brief delights, karma quickly caught up, causing them to slide downhill step by step until they fell into a bottomless abyss. With such a family background, Liz's childhood was like a nightmare, a very long nightmare, so long that Liz thought she would never be able to improve her life. She unconsciously followed her parents' old path, seeking to escape life. When in school, to avoid being ostracized by friends, she often skipped class and went home. When she entered society, she couldn't bear the heavy pressure of life, spending her days wandering with bad friends. These friends told her that making money was simple, just steal, no one would care. Love was exciting, much more interesting than studying. She regarded these teachings as truth, starting to steal from supermarkets, skipping out on motel bills with her bad friends, smoking, drinking, and experimenting with boyfriends. However, the law of cause and effect is never wrong. Everything you do has a price, and its consequences will surely return to you, not to anyone else, but to yourself. Liz paid a heavy price for her reckless behavior. She was beaten when caught stealing, drank until she vomited blood. Worst of all, her boyfriend, after physically and mentally abusing her, cruelly abandoned her. Once, on a cold winter night, kicked out of a motel by her boyfriend, she was both cold and hungry. Disregarding the disgust, she grabbed moldy food from a dumpster and shamelessly begged friends for a place to stay for one night. She lived like a sketch of earthly pain, full of injuries, full of fear, not knowing if there would be a tomorrow. When Liz was lost and helpless, a horrific murder occurred. It was witnessing this scene that made her begin to reflect and completely change her perspective. A 39-year-old single mother died tragically in a motel, leaving behind 5 struggling children in poverty. People coldly dragged away the body with a stiff, emotionless face. This tragic, bloody scene was seared into Liz's mind. She had a premonition that if she continued to escape, this would be her fate. In her book, she wrote, "At that moment, I understood that I had to choose. I could find an excuse to bow down to life, or I could force myself to create a better life." She needed to decide to change, to end her aimless life. More than ever, the urge to live a diligent and meaningful life surged within her. She resolutely broke up with her boyfriend, gave up all bad habits, made an action plan, and found a decent job. Liz gradually eliminated all bad habits by forming positive ones. She started reading more, seeking direction to change her destiny. She absolutely had to return to school. Unfortunately, due to poor grades, she was rejected by all public schools. But she didn't give up. To get an opportunity, she walked around the admissions office every day, sometimes standing for 4 hours. Finally, an unconventional school agreed to interview her. To not miss this chance, she borrowed materials from friends and studied tirelessly day and night. Eventually, she won the favor of the admissions officer with her confident way of speaking and unique thinking, and she was admitted. Perhaps within each of us there has been a shadow of Liz. If family circumstances are not good, we might think our life can only be this way. If work is not smooth, we might think we are incompetent or unlucky and choose to stay put. If test scores are not high, we might believe we are not suited for studying and choose to just get by. We don't realize that the more we avoid, accept, and compromise, the further we stray from the path that could help us shine and live truly meaningful lives. Often, a person cannot change their current situation because they don't want to face reality. When life is difficult for us, the easiest way is to give up, surrender, and let life drift. Escaping is always the path of least resistance, while changing oneself requires a strong desire, a great urge, and a powerful will. And now, it's time for you to directly confront your own problems. If you are still lacking confidence due to any inferiority complex, if you are merely complaining about circumstances, trying to blame others or escape, if you are afraid of change, preferring to maintain the status quo, if you lack patience and want quick results, if you have lost internal motivation and have no clear goals, if self-satisfaction exists within you or you feel content with what you have, believing there's no need to change. And if you are completely unaware of the importance of self-development, these are all signs that you lack the drive for self-development. Therefore, starting today, look squarely at yourself, recognize your problems, and get to work fixing them. Don't be afraid of change. View it as part of the process of growth and progress. Only when you dare to confront and overcome your own limits can you truly rise to a new level. Those who seek to retreat always face difficulties. Those who are driven to advance will be able to soar high. American writer Norman Vincent Peale said that adversity is something that either makes people smaller or makes us stronger. It never keeps people in their original state. When author Liz was admitted to school, she was overjoyed to be able to start her life anew, but she discovered that her knowledge had too many gaps. Economically, she had no one to rely on. Living expenses, food, and drink had to be earned by herself. Moreover, she had to face criticism about her past. She studied during the day and worked at night. In addition to her main courses, she also enrolled in early morning classes and studied at nearby high schools. She never skipped class. Even when exhausted, she completed her assignments on time. Every day, she slept only 4 hours, worked on hundreds of practice problems, and memorized textbooks. In the evenings, Liz also spent 6 hours working part-time. But even so, life was still tight. To save money, she never rented a place. At night, subways, hallways, even friends' house corners could become her bed. She had to wait for their parents to sleep before she dared to sneak into the house, barely curling up in a closet or bathroom for 4 to 5 hours. Early in the morning, she would rush to wake up and leave before they stirred. She was like a rootless duckweed without an anchor, yet able to thrive vigorously thanks to the buoyancy of the water. Like a brave warrior, relying on her resilience and indomitable will, Liz truly stepped out of the pile of pain and decay, opening a new path in life. Finally, the girl who was once at the bottom of her class graduated as the top student in her entire school. Liz completed a 4-year high school program in 2 years with excellent grades. She was accepted into Harvard and received the highest scholarship from the New York Times. Throughout our lives, we will ultimately experience countless hardships. Some people work tirelessly from early morning for half their lives, but still don't have enough money to pay off family debts. Some live peacefully with happy families, but sudden accidents strike. Others have an easier starting point from the beginning, but always encounter countless pains and confusions in life. The biggest obstacle, no one else, is ourselves. You will see that the author's rebirth is inseparable from the power that comes from the desire, the urge to change and progress within her. It is this power that enabled her to overcome herself and create miracles. A saying from The Alchemist further confirms this. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. And in fact, the fear of suffering is worse than suffering itself. No heart suffers when it is on the path of striving and changing oneself. For the author, life both with and without her parents was very difficult and miserable. But amidst that difficulty, when she was not yet awakened, Liz was extremely fragile and vulnerable, drifting through life with many sorrows. Now, having achieved self-awareness and the desire to change and develop, no matter how difficult her circumstances, Liz never feels unhappy. Even in the worst conditions, she never complained or compromised but steadfastly pursued the path she chose. She replaced laziness with diligence, reasons with action. Through self-reflection, she modified her behavior repeatedly, refining and retaining the essence. Finally, she overcame every difficulty, developed, and became a better version of herself. And life is like that. As long as we don't stop and always have the urge to actively cultivate ourselves, you will certainly be able to overcome all difficulties and be reborn from the ashes. What determines how high you can soar lies in your own intrinsic drive for self-development. Each person's destiny is different, but heaven has prepared a door of rebirth for all of us through the pursuit of self-development. As long as you have the urge to try and open this door, light will shine in, dispelling all the darkness of life. The author has done this exceptionally well. She used the detailed story of her life to show us that even if you are as humble as a weed, you can, through self-development, pierce through solid rock and grow into a towering tree. So, how can we cultivate the ability for self-development? Through Liz's story, we can draw 3 conclusions. The first is asterisk self-reflection to improve cognitive enhancement. Socrates said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." If the author of this autobiography had not promptly reflected and examined the problems existing within herself, even hundreds of horrific events would not have awakened her. If you repeatedly make the same mistakes, immersed in similar troubles, and you still cannot reflect, life will continue to arrange painful experiences for you. If a person cannot self-reflect, there will be no true progress, and they will fall into old wounds again and again. Self-reflection is a process of recognizing reality, confronting all personal problems to enhance awareness and make correct behaviors. This not only helps you recognize your mistakes and limitations, but also helps you better understand your values and life goals. The second is *** embracing change and daring to step out of your comfort zone. The drive for self-development often requires us to dare to face uncertainty and be ready to change. In the book Elastic Asterisk, it is said that change is the normal state of the world. We must learn to embrace uncertainty to become the master of our own destiny. Stepping out of your comfort zone is not just about geography or career, but also a change in mindset and attitude. Only when you are dissatisfied with the status quo and accept challenges can you open opportunities to learn, develop skills, gain new knowledge, enhance awareness, and upgrade your energy, thereby leading to significant improvements in your life. And the third is to asterisk focus on yourself, persevere, and be disciplined to the end. Self-development requires perseverance and long-term commitment to oneself. There is no path to true success or growth without encountering difficulties. On the journey of self-development, there will be times when you feel tired and want to give up, but these very moments are the real challenges. There are 100 reasons to give up, but if there is just one reason to persevere, that is enough. Continuing to persevere and maintain discipline, no matter how many difficulties and obstacles you encounter, will help you overcome your own limits and achieve great things. Wheat and cocoons are very difficult, and rice blooming is also very arduous, but life is always hard training before glory. Only by being steadfast and continuously striving can you meet a better version of yourself. Finally, I want to share with you a quote from the author. No matter if you are homeless or a business person, a doctor or a teacher, no matter your background, only when we attach meaning to life does life truly become meaningful. What you think your life is like, it will become, for life is a blank page. What colors it turns into is entirely up to you to paint. So do not live vaguely. Do not drown in fleeting pleasures. Learn to delay instant gratification and persist with things that have long-term meaning. Ignite the flame of self-development to add a color of diligence to your life. I hope both you and I can be steadfast in this flame of self-development. It will guide you to do the right and meaningful things throughout your life's journey.